Gopi Janavallabha Jayo Girivaradhari Jayo Girivaradhari Jayo Gopi Janavallabha Jayo Girivaradhari Jayo Girivaradhari Jayo Jasodanandana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Jayo Jasodanandana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Chiravanachari Jayo Kunda Bihari Jaya Jamuna Chiravanachari Jayo Kunda Bihari Jayo Jamuna Chiravanachari Jayo Kunda Bihari Jaya Jamuna Chiravanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunda Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunda Bihari Jayo Gopi Janavallabha Jayo Girivaradhari Jayo Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jayo Girivaradhari Jayo Girivaradhari Jayo Jasodanandana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Jayo Jamuna Chiravanachari Jayo Kunda Bihari Jaya Jamuna Chiravanachari Jayo Kunda Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jayo Kunda Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariparikritayo Stutu Shri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anant Guru Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. ISKCON BBT founder Chai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premananda. Hare Krishna. All glories to the 70 devotees. All glories to the 70 devotees. All glories to the 70 devotees. All glories to Shishi Guru Guranga. All glories to Shri Prabhupada. Om Ganati Mirandasya Gana Gana Salakaya Shakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Paskacharya Satarine Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Parakamalang Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Sri Rupam Sagrayatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sadivam Sadvaitam Savarutam Paridhyana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitam Sha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutedevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpaturubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Hare Krishna. Krishna in the Bhagavad-Gita, the first 6 chapters, Krishna speaks about it was said that the first 6 chapters, more things about like karma, we are not this body, basic foundations for spiritual life is given. And then 6 middle chapters are more devotional. They're well, in the 6th chapter, the end of that, the Yoginama Pisadvasam, no, the Yoginama. In case of all yogis, he always to think of me with devotion. He is the highest of all. So Krishna speaks about devotional service, pure devotional service. And then in the 3rd section, there is a little bit more Sankhya philosophy, or analyze of the material world. 3 modes of material nature. What is a demon? What is a devotee? So we can recognize ourselves. We can recognize who we are, ourselves. because we can take that our surrounding is like a mirror, so what we see in it may also reflect something in us. Just like when I came to the movement, I had not too much experience of drugs. And then came these people visiting the temple in any case. And I thought they were a little bit strange, but and then later on could understand that they were drug addicts. Yeah. Okay, so like that. In any case, if it's not in your mind, you may not recognize it outside. Doesn't mean that it doesn't exist outside us, that you don't recognize it. Okay, so Bhagavad-Gita, the last 6 chapters is a little bit analyzing things. What is a demon? What is a devotee? Freemost material nature, worshipping the freemost material nature. And of course, Krishna ends up with stating, don't worry, just surrender to me. Whether you understand all these things or not, don't worry. Just be my devotee, just... In one sense, Krishna maybe says, do as I want you to do. Let's ask. He asked a heavy thing from Arjuna, Krishna. If you fight your relatives, you kill them. Because we don't say that nowadays, I hope. We should give them life, the life of devotional service. Hope for the future, for the eternal future. As also modern time looks maybe grey and bleak and hopeless. Isn't any hope in this world? Because, well, we get great hope. We have got a nice place here. Things has happened, certainly. Okay, so, but what... The 9th chapter, 9th and 10th chapter, we can say that's in the middle of the Bhagavad-Gita. So we're speaking of beginning, the middle, and now here's the middle of the Bhagavad-Gita, 9th and 10th chapter, or actually, or the end of the 9th chapter, the beginning of the 10th chapter, we can say that's the middle. And there we have Manmana bhava mad bhakto majaji mam namaskuru mame vaishasi yuktva atmana matyana parayanaha. And that verse is more or less identical. We can say it's identical. It's in the first half with verse in the 18th chapter, where Krishna also says Manmana bhava mad bhakto majaji mam namaskuru. But then he changes a little bit at the end. Here in the 9th chapter he says, being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. And then in the end of the end, let's see here, take it. The 18th chapter. Let's see. No, yes, that's it. Actually, yes. Yes, take 65, 1865. Man mana bhava man bhakto majidi mam namaskuru. This is man mana bhava man bhakto majidi mam namaskuru. That is it. It's identical. Then Krishna says, end it just a little bit differently. Mam vaishasi satyam te pratidhyana priyase me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this, because you're my very dear friend. That's I promise you because you are my very dear friend. That's quite an interesting statement by Krishna to Arjuna. I spoke the other day on the Sunday feast. I like this Matcha Avatar pastime, where the prayer by Satyavrata, the king, he says, you're like the demon's friend, you're the real friend of all living entities. So we like to see how Krishna is our friend. When Krishna says, you are my friend. When Krishna says, I am your friend. No, let's see, how did I say it now? You are my friend. You are my friend. He says that to Arjuna. I promise you this, because you're my very dear friend. So one way, if we can get to that point of being such a dear friend to Krishna, that Krishna promises, you will not take birth again. Or you will not lose my... You will come to me without fail. You will come to me without fail. Well, that can be an ambition for us, to get to the point where Krishna says, you will come to be with me without fail. So that's quite interesting how Krishna says, points out Arjuna as his dear friend, therefore a promise, and therefore gives a promise. Because to be like Arjuna, we may have to be, well, maybe we can't be like Arjuna. We can try to endeavor. We can have him as a role model. This is what a devotee is like, a dear friend. But then we know that Krishna played with Arjuna. Of course, there was one point in the beginning of the story, Arjuna and his brothers, they only know that Krishna is there somewhere. He's a cousin brother somewhere else. They are not in direct contact with him. Actually, as I remember now, the first time they really see each other, or is at this Swayamvar of Draupadi. Yes, Swayamvar of Draupadi, there where then this time when Arjuna and his brothers and his mother, and they're going in exile, their first time hiding in the forest, away from their not good cousins. The cousin brothers, the Kurus, Duryodhan, who tried to kill them. So they're trading away, but then there's this Swayamvar, and then Arjuna gains the hand of Draupadi while he's still in hiding as a Brahmin. So in this, there Krishna points out, hey, this is to his brother. This is Arjuna. This is Yudhishthira Maharaj here. We have our cousin brothers. Any case, so then, but from that point on, at some point, they come to know each other, or interact more closely, and they have many pastimes together. We know that, as mentioned, Krishna mentions here in the Bhagavad-Gita. He says in the 11th chapter, sorry. And then he says, sorry. He got a real shock. He wanted to see the universal form of the Lord. So we maybe also think, well, wow, if one could see the universal form of the Lord, would be far out. Yes. But also thought that it would be a real proof that Krishna is the supreme Godhead. And then the hair stands on the end, he gets dead scared. Arjuna, as big a warrior he is, it's a scary experience. So sometimes maybe we human beings, or we male human beings, have some kind of attraction, maybe for war and fighting battles, all these kind of things. So this it's kind of inspiring, interesting to hear about it, that maybe see some film or photos. But if you would end up in the middle of it yourself, then it would be scary. because here Finland had enough fighting during the Second World War, let's say. So we can say, in any case, it was very close by. But we are just happily we're born a little bit later, so we're getting into the picture in a time when there is peace. But it's so when we actually see Krishna and it's universal, so we can say because that's universal form. That's an aspect, at least an aspect of the universal form, when there's heavy battles, bombs and rockets and guns and shooting and screaming and whatever. That's scary. At the same time, we're attracted. So we say, no, I don't want to see anything. I don't want to hear anything. We kind of. On one hand, it's scary. On the other hand, it's attractive. That's interesting. So Krishna is interesting. Of course, we worship Krishna. Because then we're worshiping Krishna. Krishna says, engage your mind always in thinking of me, become my devotee. Think of me, become my devotee, offer obeisances to me and worship me. Because that's a nice, he doesn't say, watch internet. Worship me. We don't need a modern technology to worship Krishna. Because we use the modern technology, but we don't really need it. And for our Krishna consciousness, we don't really need it. But for the spreading the Krishna consciousness, or maybe be interactive with devotees in this modern time, when by the force of the development we have been spread out, and at the same time, by the force of the development in our spread outness or separation, we have an opportunity to associate with those devotees from all over the world. Maybe almost all over the universe. You can see. Let me see. I'm sorry. The universe. The internet universe has touched me also. So then you have this universe of itself where people living in, and so many things. It goes back and forth, and there's maybe so many different dimensions, so many things going on in that universe. That is not at all with devotional service to do, or with human progress. So that's a challenge. Okay, manmana bhava madbhakto, manmana bhava madbhakto. Or engage your mind always in thinking of me. So that is the 9th chapter, the end 9th chapter, and then in the 10th chapter, Aham savasya prabhavu mata savam pravartate. I am this, Krishna says, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. The wise who know this perfectly engage in my devotional service with all their hearts. So when we know that Krishna, if we can realize that Krishna is everything and there's nothing else but Krishna, well, then we can't do anything. Then surrender to Krishna, or think of Krishna. Of course, when we get to the point that we can't help it, wherever we see Krishna, that would be great. Of course, I don't know if you're ready for it. But in any case, when one have that vision, that one can actually realize something of Krishna's presence everywhere and anywhere. Sometimes seems contradictory, but sometimes been walking on the streets of Stockholm, going from one place to another, and I can't help to think, wow, this is Krishna. It's all these people walking from one place to another. Who keeps order on the whole thing? How do they know? It's like a big anthill, If you see from outer space, the towns, they're like anthills. And when we look at the anthill, we see so many ants going back and forth, and it doesn't make. Someone is pulling in something, and someone else is pulling in a little bit in a different direction or something. But the anthill, and then the human society in a big town is a little bit like anthill also. There's so many going, and then they get distracted and they're moving back and forth. But then how is this possible? Who keeps order on the whole thing? How does it happen? Well, that's Krishna. He's in the heart of every one of them. And then one can come to it. So what is their what is their desires? Okay, maybe we better don't ask what their desires is. What is their intention? What's the background, and where do they want to go? And then sometimes maybe you get an opportunity to see a little bit people a little bit behind the screen. This is a screen or whatever, the surface. You can see something, and then you would see it looks like normal people. You find it's very tormented people and people in need. Okay, so Krishna, though, he says, just think of me, become a devotee. Always think, become a devotee. Offer obeisances to me and worship me. So of course we worship Krishna. Okay, we think of Krishna, we're trying to think of Krishna. We can say, Prabhupada said, chant Hare Krishna, be happy. Always chant Hare Krishna, always chant Krishna's name. We can say, that is to be thinking of Krishna. Chanting Krishna's name is to think of Krishna. It's a way of being Krishna conscious of Krishna. And actually, Prabhupada said we should chant always. We can say, well, that means, could also take, well, we should think of Krishna always. Think of Krishna always, chant always, serve Krishna always, in some way or another. Engage your mind always in thinking of me, Krishna says here. So well, be conscious of Krishna. And how become a devotee, Krishna says, become a devotee. We put on tilak, visible or not visible. Okay, temple is fine, we put on tilak. In the town we maybe get a little bit scared wearing tilak. My disciple here, Vrishabha Prabhu, I needed some tilak, so he gave me a bottle of container with tilak. And then I was surprised. It smelled so strongly from this Gopi Chandan tilak. And such a nice, strong smell. So then I think, well, when I put on this, my personal experience, putting on early in the morning when I'm going to go to the airport, passing through the custom with the passport, and then the lady there, the Indian lady, says, "Oh, that chandan you have smells very nicely." Oh, really? I didn't ask how she could know that, because there was a glass in between us. Some kind of glass, But somehow the smell of the chandan, of the tilak, we could say, was touching the lady there. And I think, well, no, she happened to come. She looked like she came from India, okay, and I think she must have done because, But then all the other people who was standing in the queue, etc., they must smell it also. Or maybe they don't understand what's going on, strange smell. But this way, what was the point there? Well, in any case, worshipping Krishna. Yes, we worship Krishna. In that way, we can say we worship Krishna, who is in our heart and who is in the heart of everyone. We worship Krishna in our heart of putting on tilak. We may be dhoti, whatever. But then actually people are reminded of Krishna. Of course, the good thing with good thing, I don't know if it's good. Unless you look yourself in the mirror, you don't really see how it looks like. So that we can say the putting on tilak is not for your own sake. I mean, we can say it is for our own sake, but it's also for the sake of the people who we meet. Because, remember, if they just see you with tilak on, there's so much benefited spiritually. So you can go out and preach just by putting on the tilak and walking around with a smile. Because at least when we're Harinam or something good. There was one devotee. We're getting old, so we speak all these memories. Old people, they speak their memories, and then they start to speak the same thing over and over and over again. We have Lokanath Prabhu and his family at Almvik. They got the wife's father now as a permanent member of their household there. He want to be with his daughter and their family, and they have facilities. So, but Lokanath, he complains that he always tells the same story. Oh. How he went in education of cooking, and then he got into opening a restaurant, and so going over and over and over again. So that the whole Hare Krishna is going. Yeah, and there was his time when we would speak over and over again. Okay, so there was this time. So, North Sweden, we was out distributing records, and I had one devotee in the party. He's still alive actually, so somewhat devotional also. But he didn't want to put on tilak. I thought I have put on tilak. My principle have put on tilak. Maybe we had karmi trousers on and things like that. We didn't. But I had the tilak because Prabhupada said that. Okay, it's okay. You can keep a suit and tie, but you should have tilak. Some places says like that. I'm sure. Dead sure Prabhupada said that somewhere. I've heard that. But this devotee thought tilak was too strange. But the dhoti was perfectly all right. So he went out with a dhoti like a sannyas dhoti, but he had no tilak. then he distributed. So the guy ended up sitting in a bus, going to where we stayed over the night in this town. And then one lady stood there, and she was speaking with a friend, and then seeing me, she was reminded of something she had seen in town. And that was this man with a strange, what to say, strange rope, with some kind of rope, and he was selling some record. And I could understand that she met the devotee. Okay, but it leaves an impression on the people in the people's minds in a way. One can choose to see things as preaching or not, or maybe of course maybe better do what's comfortable and what do well. But I just say that think of Krishna, worship Krishna. Then we have think of Krishna, always think of be a devotee of Krishna, and worship Krishna. Offer obeisances also. Offer obeisances, that makes sense. We come into the temple, we make our obeisances. That's clear. We see a devotee, maybe we say we also mentally or verbally greet them, or maybe even paying our obeisances. That's described in the Nectar of Instruction, how we treat differently. If we see someone, if we hear someone mentioning Krishna's name, then we mentally honor that person. Well, okay, now let's say, okay, I walked there in town in Stockholm with my dhoti and tilak and everything, trying to distribute some books during the marathon. I did one book or two. And then you go and then you hear some, oh, it's a Hare Krishna. You hear someone mentioning Krishna's name just simply because he saw you. So, and then I turn around and look and see, oh, there's standing an Indian family there. A father with 2 kids. So yes, that way you're reminded. We can say a way of worshipping Krishna or serving Krishna or reminding people of Krishna. So worship me. Okay, we can say it's a way of worshipping Krishna. Reminding people of Krishna is a way of worshipping Krishna. We're worshipping Krishna, who is in the heart of all living entities. So the devotees are very good at protecting cows. I don't know if we're very good at it, but we try. It's almost not so easy as we thought. But of course, in the cow's heart there is Krishna, in the ant's heart there is Krishna, in the spider's heart there is Krishna, in the heart of ants, the ant's heart, in the fish heart, Krishna is everywhere. That's his Paramatma aspect. So, and again, that way we can worship. Remember Krishna, worship Krishna. And of course, the spider and the ant, etc. I don't know how much they care that we wear tilak. I don't. How you think you're a devotee? Just because you wear tilak? That's another aspect of the argument. I'm a big devotee. I always wear a big tilak. We can become humble devotees. But the animals don't care too much if you wear tilak or not. That's good. Even if I don't think, or maybe they think, what a strange human. Of course, the animals, at least the cows, and I think the horses also, and the dogs for sure, maybe the cats as well, they all, for many times with these animals, with the dogs, but even the cows and the horses, as far as I know, they very much recognize you by smell. That's correct. Your experience, not okay. Has something to do with the horses, something. But if you come to Almvik Gård, at least I know there the cows are standing there, kind of smelling what's going on. But they kind of recognize one part of the recognition is the smell, so they don't care too much. Well, maybe they recognize the Shandan then. And the dogs for sure see very much with their smell and not with their eyes. Okay, still, sometimes animals are very good at picking up the vibrations of the human beings. Actually, they know very well ahead what's your mood. Mostly they are very sensitive to these kind of things. So if you're in a nice Krishna conscious mood, we assume they will pick it up also. They don't care whether you wear tilak or not. But they maybe care what's on your mind, what's in your heart. So that's Krishna. So worship Krishna. Worship Krishna, offer obeisances to me, to Krishna, who is in the heart of all living entities and who is on the Acha Vigraha and the temple, that's clear, but in so many ways, in the form of the Holy Scripture, in the form of the beads, in the form of the holy name, etc. Krishna is Krishna is present. Okay, worshipping me and offer obeisances to Krishna, worship me. And of course, yes. So when there is in Nectar of Instruction, it's that if we meet someone who just says Hare Krishna, that captures our attention, and we offer our respects in the mind to such a person. And that is what you do as a devotee, I believe. If you come on the street and then someone says Hare Krishna, or oh, that's a Hare Krishna, then immediately there's something, at least in my mind, it immediately becomes like, I mostly get if the person is not saying in an offensive way, then you think, oh, who's that? Someone is chanting Hare Krishna. So you're kind of looking, who was it? Who's that? It creates a positive thought in our mind of the person. So we can say in our mind we're paying our obeisances. So then it says someone is initiated, then we pay our obeisances. We offer respect in the mind, and then we pay our more advanced. We pay our obeisances, and then we serve the devotees or advanced in devotion, uninterrupted devotional service, free from the tendency to criticize others. That's the gradation Rupa Goswami gives in the Nectar of Instruction. Okay, Hare Krishna. Sankirtan ki jai. Always chant Hare Krishna. Always think of Krishna. Always remember Krishna. Any question or comment?
Yes. You mentioned in the beginning that if we see bad things in others, that's an indication that it exists within us also.
Yes.
Do you have any tips on how to avoid fault finding and stuff like that?
We try to see the good in them. Maybe not easy, but well, we are born in a conditioned nature, so we have our gunas, and I would say, because that's a challenge to see, because we see so many things and then still they're chanting Hare Krishna. So that is, of course, we have to then see that, and then in light of Krishna's instructions in the Bhagavad-Gita 9th chapter, where it just say, well, even commits most abominable action, is to considered saintly because he's rightly situated in his determination. So I can contemplate like that, but still, what's his name? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, he gives a gradation, like different kind of devotees. Let's see, how was that one? Something like first class, second class, third class. Okay, there was an example with a bed sheet, okay. The advanced devotee sees the faults. So the advanced, the not advanced. Or we see the faults. We see the faults and not the good things. Okay, there's a bed sheet and it's very clean, but there's one spot. So we expertly find the one spot that's not clean. And then there is another devotee sees a spot, but also sees that that's a good thing. And then the third one category has a blanket full of dirt. And it sees the one clean spot. And not the dirty part. The dirt is like, doesn't really exist. No, here's a clean spot. That was, as far as I vaguely remember, this was something Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said. So we can keep that in mind. Of course, if you're a manager, you have to look, you have to be practical and see, maybe to make a judgment. If you're the head Pujari, maybe you have to make judgment also. If you're just a Pujari, then it's quite easy. You just worship Krishna on the altar. Because worshipping Krishna on the altar is also tricky, because you may think that you're so great because you're worshipping Krishna on the altar. But then the statement is that if you worship the Krishna on the altar but don't know how to respect other the living entities, to say, outside of the altar, then your worship is like the pouring of ghee on the ashes. Doesn't mean anything. So that we could also see in a double sense, that we can also see someone pretends to be a great devotee, but then he or she disregards or behaves nasty or something to other devotees and other living entities. So then we say that's not so. Okay. So try to see the good and the bad and then judge it, and send a prayer. That's also, we can also pray for. We find very many faults in someone, and then the bull of Dharma, he told Parikshit Maharaj, so how has done this to you? You're mistreated like anything. Who has done it? Well, it's very difficult to ascertain who is a destiny and time, and I don't know what he had. And then, but he didn't want to point out the perpetrator. Really didn't see the perpetrator. He saw there's so many reasons why this happened. Then, of course, Parikshit Maharaj, for him it's very clear because he's a good manager. Okay, now I understand. Okay, you're the bull of Dharma, and you act on the principle of what was the principle there. It's something about the one who sees the fault is in himself part. Something like the one who sees the fault is himself a part of the problem. We can keep it in mind. Okay, we manage to see then what is in me. Another Harinam, Stockholm. What is his name? Nataraj, or Sankirtan hero or leader, general in Stockholm, Kirtan. So he said to be on Harinam, and maybe it makes sense. What you meet is a reflection of your own state of mind. And he gave some example of that. One girl going out without and then she, every time she went out, a couple of times, some Muslims or stuff started to attack her, at least verbally or something, and Nataraj had to go in between and stop them. So then he asked them, what's going on? How is this? Now there's the second time this happened. You get attacked this way by this man here. Well, I'm there. Actually, was some problem with the fiancé or something. There was some problem in her life. So then she was in the street, and then the problem, so to say, becomes very physically present. Okay, that's quite interesting. So we could say also, if we have a problem with something, we can say also in some way that it reflects on us in some ways. On the other hand, if you are a manager, you may have to properly understand things and be able to respond to it. Okay, so reflect on it. Expand your vision a little bit. Okay, that's what I see here. And what does it say about me here? And of course, then you can go back and forth and we can. Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of a follow. As also a manager needs to also, you said a manager needs to see the faults, but doesn't the manager also need to have some compassion in order to correct it in a nice, constructive way?
Yes. Yeah.
Isn't that the difficult part?
Yeah, that's a difficult part also. Everything can be difficult when you don't know how to do it. For me, the computer is very difficult. And for someone who knows it, what's a big problem? So, yes. Of course, if depending on level of advancement, difficulty coming to you, maybe what's difficult for one is not a difficulty for another one because the person already learned the lesson. So then it's not a difficulty because you know how to deal with it. Okay, something like that. Let's see what and then we have to end here. Yes.
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for your class. In continuation of what you spoke on Sunday, and today you mentioned about friend.
Friend, yes.
And on Sunday you was telling about different races, like the Dasya rasa, we have Shanta, Dasya, then we have Sakya, etc. So can you explain more when you say that when service become confidential?
No,
So
when service.
when service of the devotee become more confidential, can you more explain on that in terms of
Confidential service of the devotee.
yeah.
You mean service of Krishna. Confidential service of Krishna. Well, okay. Was Shantaras, then we appreciating Krishna's greatness. And then we become friend relationship, and then a more confidential relationship with Krishna.
No, I mean like you were explaining in terms of progressing of that from Shantaras to Dasaras to Sakyaras and that. And you was
I don't remember what I said there. Did I speak about that?
Question relates to what is a service devotee does in terms of his
More confidential.
in terms of his friendly relationship with Krishna. What does it mean?
Okay, friendly. Well, maybe I can't say that. It's confidential. As it's confidential, I'm sorry, I can't say anything. That's confidential, okay. Yes. When your friend tells you that he has some difficulty or something like that, then you don't go and tell it to everyone, okay? Maybe you see what you can do for the friend. Well, don't break the confidence. It can be to be confidential. Confidential friendship, confidential service. To be able to not have to tell everyone, but keep it and yes. Okay? Hare Krishna. Sankirtan ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Smita, Krishna, Swami, Maharaj ki.